Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I'm going to start you out with some scary stats. Check this out. Apparently, there has been $2.98 billion in digital assets stolen as of right now, which is almost double the $1.55 billion lost in 2021. This is one of the reasons Ledger is one of my sponsors. One of the reasons that I use a Ledger, several of them. You can get the Nano X on Ledger's website for $149. Links in the top of the description. You click on it, tell them DAI sent you. You can get a Nano S Plus for $79, or you can get a bundle pack at a 10% discount. All this is through the link in the top of the description. Check this out. I happened to run across this. You know, there's been a lot of talk about the FTX exchange recently, and so I just decided to look a little deeper, and I found a couple of things, but I found this. Joe Bankman is Sam Bankman-Fried's dad. He's a Stanford professor. Listen to what he says here.
In business, I've had people like Peter Thiel, I suppose probably the best known student. Peter is famous for saying education's a waste. Although I think I can reveal, he once told me that my class was his most valuable because he was able to put a lot of his PayPal stock in an IRA. And taxation. That's an entirely legal move, by the way. So there's nothing, I'm saying that, and I don't know if that's actually true, but there's many people have done it. And I think by now this is a known fact about Peter.
Folks, at age 48, I've learned that in most cases there are no coincidences. So here this guy's son just happens to pop up at some exchange that I've never even heard of, and all of a sudden it's the biggest thing going. And his dad just happens to be on a first name basis. He's obviously talked to Peter Thiel since his IRA became worth billions of dollars. I remember that being in the news not too long ago and gave him credit for it. So anyway, there are no coincidences, folks. Watch this. This is the Coinbase VP commenting on filing the amicus brief in the Ripple case. If I can get it to play. Come on, let's do a refresh. See if we can make this thing go. Here we go.
Have just filed to support Ripple against the SEC case. What can you tell us about that?
So we've not only filed we filed an amicus brief, a Friends of the Court brief in supporting the Ripple litigation. We've also done it with the Grayscale ETP. And just broadly speaking, these are issues of, fair notice, meaning regulators need to give the market fair notice of expected conduct before they take an enforcement action. I think it's been very clear over the past 5 years. The rules have been unclear. It's not clear how to what the SEC is asking for generally. In July, we actually filed a petition for rulemaking, which is very unusual for an entity to ask a regulator to be regulated. And the reason we did that is because there's a lot of uncertainty on where different regulators have authority. And what's missing today is a digital asset securities market. There is no way to tokenize equity or debt, trade it, or issue it. There's no rule set that exists today under the SEC's purview to pursue that. And there's a lot of ambiguity on whether or not the SEC should have authority over commodities. And that's what the DCCPA is trying to help draw the line, and what the CFTC's authority over commodity is and what the SEC's authority over securities is. And so the reason we file these amicus briefs is because all the policy as of to date is being done in the courts. right? So the decisions the courts are going to make are going to help draw these lines. And so until we have affirmative notice and comment rulemaking at agencies and legislation passed to mandate that, our only recourse is to have this discussion, debate in the courts. And that's why we filed those amicus briefs in support of Ripple and Grayscale.
All right, so there's that. Now here is a clip from their amicus brief. If Bitcoin and Ether are sufficiently decentralized, the case for decentralization of XRP is even stronger. That's Coinbase saying that, folks. All these people knew this. I'm just saying, there are no coincidences. What I've told you, and I'm not saying Coinbase was or was not involved, but there's been a concerted effort to tamp down XRP. They all knew what XRP was. They all know it's more efficient than than Ethereum and Bitcoin. This isn't some mystery, folks. We're not taking crazy pills out here. There's also a reason that 85+% of crypto social media for the last 5 or 6 years has been Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the traditional media. While all of us out here that are telling the truth are scratching our heads going, what are you talking about Bitcoin, Ethereum all the time for? XRP and Stellar and Cardano and all these other things are twice as good technologically than that. What are you talking about? Now we're starting to see the truth come out, folks. It's funny how that works. Crypto Council for Innovation, these are the ones that also filed their amicus here. They said, we filed an amicus in the SEC lawsuit against Ripple. Why? The court's decision could have industry-wide effects. The regulation by enforcement approach departs from principle of meaningful public participation in agency decision-making. It deprives market participants of fair notice. I think this is the core of most of these people that are filing. It deprives them of fair notice. Nobody's being given any notice of anything. There's no rulemaking, and you're not getting any notice that you've done anything wrong. And when you go ask them, they just put your stuff on a shelf, and they don't give you any answers, because library people told us that. So you're in a no-win situation if you're in the crypto business, and that's the whole point of what Gary Gensler's doing. He doesn't want anybody to have any answers, so he can just pick and choose who he wants to go after, and there will be no crypto industry. That's the whole point. Now, this right here is over the target, folks. This is from Digital Perspectives, Brad Combs. And I said here, the SEC using Ripple lawsuit as a weapon seems to be becoming more into focus now. Check this out. So he says, sounds like the amicus brief, Crypto Council amicus brief, could be used not only for cross-border payments, but to speed up settlement time derivatives, okay? Listen, watch this. Second, even if the open questions regarding registration of digital asset securities are resolved, it is not apparent how traditional securities intermediaries such as broker-dealers and national securities exchanges would be able to facilitate digital asset transactions under the existing securities regulatory framework. Securities market infrastructure does not support blockchain transactions, which are a significant source of utility for XRP and digital assets. Blockchains can provide for near-instant settlement for peer-to-peer transactions as opposed to the T+2 settlement cycle commonly associated with securities. Initiate cross-border transactions with minimal time and resource costs, whereas securities infrastructure typically does not offer direct cross-border transactions that interfere with third-party software applications, which do not exist in the traditional securities market. If digital assets are not permitted to trade on the blockchain, these benefits cannot be realized. Moreover, broker-dealers and national securities exchanges are subject to a separate regulatory requirements that are not compatible with transacting in digital assets like XRP. And then he adds this. This is a video of Gary these are all, remember, except for Hester Pierce, all of these were the ones that perpetuated this whole situation.
In the standard settlement cycle in the near future, ever-increasing pace of advancements in
this woman right here, and Gary have all been voting together on all of this crap.
Ever-increasing pace of advancements in technology, including distributed ledger technology, further shortening the standard settlement cycle in the near future may be both desirable and feasible. Indeed, some such efforts are already underway.
Today, we do have those technologies not only to shorten the settlement cycle to 1 day, but also to shorten key elements of what's called the clearing process, that which goes on before. Also, I think rather important, it requires 3 important steps in that clearing process, the back office plumbing process of affirmation, i.e. to fully automate transaction processing. Again, lowering risks in the system.
So Gary knows all about what the benefits of XRP would be. But he also knows that JPM coin is being left alone. JPM coin, we still don't know if that's a security. Gary hadn't done a thing to touch them.
Now, separately, the Commission is also issuing a robust request for comment around areas to consider with respect to potentially achieving same-day net settlement in the future. Net, because it's still netting positions, but possibly moving them.
Remember how Congress was going after Gary recently over his comment period?
Moving the securities in the evening or end of day. The technology actually exists today, not just for same-day affirmation confirmation.
Oh, it exists today, and you're suing them.
Allocations, but even for same-day settlement. How do commissioners vote on the division's recommendations to amend the Securities Exchange Act on clearing and settling?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
All right. Moving along. Now, Matt Corva joined Charles Hoskinson and calling what all of us have been saying is just conspiracies, unfounded or grand conspiracies. The guy you're about to see is Vinay Gupta, coordinator for Ethereum, ex-release coordinator for Ethereum. Listen to what he says.
What's actually happening with all of this stuff, right, is there are a bunch of people that have a shit ton of Ether, right? I sold out $14 a coin. We broke our legal situation, right? The foundation did something stupid that exposed all of us to a shit ton of liability. And at that point, my choice was divesting or moving to a jurisdiction without an extradition treaty with the US. So I divested, knowing that it was going to cost me tens of millions of dollars. Full whack, it would have cost me $56 million. So what I should really have done is moved to a place with no extradition treaty with the US and accepted that I was hiding out. But such is life.
He is literally saying that the Ethereum Foundation did something that would make them all criminals if they didn't divest of their Ethereum.
The young, so what they're doing is this. You've got $500 million worth of Ether, right? You can't sell $500 million worth of Ether without crashing the Ether price. So what you're looking for is ways of turning your Ether into money in ways which don't crash the Ether price by selling out and turning it into dollars. This is the core goal. So what they've discovered is a whole bunch of weird protocols that allow people to borrow, to lend money, lend their Ether out, and then claim interest on the Ether, which is then paid in real currencies. So what we're doing is we're building a whole kind of speculative leverage market. You've got 1,000 Ether. You want to buy more Ether because you think the price is going up. So you borrow money against your 1,000 Ether into another token, then you sell those tokens for more Ether. And so you've got all of this kind of leveraged financialization stuff going on. The critical thing is that it's all zero sum. Every penny made in these markets is being lost somewhere else in the system. And the non-zero sum use of crypto is like 0.25% of the total transaction volume. So to all intents and purposes, what we've gotten is very, very, very aggressive, unregulated crypto speculation.
All right. So there's that, but we're all conspiracy theorists. Now, this is a clip right here. This is the heart of the matter, folks. This clip right here is from Jeremy Hogan's most recent video. Let's check this out.
Look at page 19 of Deaton's brief. Quote, the SEC was well aware that the mere filing of this case would cause multi-billion losses to innocent third parties. He's citing to Mr. Grunfust's letter. His warning was more than accurate because the damages were more than $15 billion, and the disruption of numerous innovative applications of XRP resulted. Buried underneath the $15 billion in losses are real people who have been severely harmed, not by market volatility, but because at best, the SEC fundamentally misunderstands the underlying technology, or at worst, has been deliberately misleading so as to arrogate for the SEC optionality as this litigation progressed, close quote. And that, I think, sums up what the judge needs to learn from this brief. Real people harmed by a government agency that is supposed to be protecting them, but apparently has bigger priorities other than protecting investors.
Exactly. That's it. All right, and check this out. Speaking of being harmed, Ripple lost their deal with MoneyGram when this lawsuit was dropped. Now MoneyGram later went on to start working with Stellar, who did not get sued. MoneyGram introduces new crypto service enabling customers to buy, sell, and hold cryptocurrency via MoneyGram. What are the damages here for Ripple? What are the damages to Ripple caused by this lawsuit just with the MoneyGram deal that was lost? Then check this out. Ripple tweeted this: 90% of central banks are exploring CBDCs, up from 80% in 2021. This growth has the potential to revolutionize the current financial system. And then Anthony Welfare from Ripple tweets this: once you can use stablecoins and CBDCs to make quick and small transactions, you open the country to significant new opportunities and innovations. And this reminded me of the Bob Way quote right here, where he says, once you have atomic settlement between two central banks, it's game over.
Ripple actually took a very contrarian view and actually said, no, we will be working with central banks, regulators, and banks to make sure that our solution is widely adopted. And which is why I'm actually employed by Ripple, because so we actually work very closely with about 40-50 central banks across the globe, including Bank of Thailand. So Ripple has taken that approach of collaboration and education, as Mansa mentioned. I think apart from education, collaboration is also extremely key, especially in the world where technology keeps outpacing regulations. So one day we're talking about AI and blockchain, the other day we are talking about self-driving cars and drones, and the third day we're talking about quantum computing and its impact on blockchain. So, I mean, I don't envy a regulator's job at all. Ripple actually took a very contrarian view.
I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family that once you have atomic settlement between two central banks,